Hey, what's up YouTube? It's been a little bit, but I'm just going to show you some of the stuff that I do to restore, like old leather, vintage leather, maybe antique leather. So some of the things that I look at when I'm looking at really old leather. So this thing, I'm going to guess that this thing is around 70 years old or older. Is this thing still pliable? So this still is, which is telling me that this leather is still alive. It still has a nice soft feel in somewhat. I mean, it's a little bit stiff, but these are things that I look at leather. Sometimes on the older stuff, that's going to be 70 years old or older, they can have some mold. I don't like mold, but I've dealt with it, and it still lets me know that leather is alive. That's obviously something that I would want to use, like concrobium or something like that, to address that mold that's in there, but that means there's still moisture inside. The ones that I don't like is when the leather is like very brittle and dry, super stiff. So luckily this hanger is not super brittle. So you might ask, what are these? So these things are kind of like a utility hook or something like that. So you can see here, you can put this on your belt, and then with this hook on side, obviously you can hang things. So originally these things were made specifically more for these Swedish army shovels. So on every version of the Swedish army entrenching tool or shovel, I've found that they are drilled out with 2 holes usually, or sometimes only 1 hole. But that, they don't have covers for these things. So it's really just to hold your shovel onto your belt. Now, in the early 1900s, they did have the original entrenching tools or fighting tools, whatever you want to call it, with 1 hole, and they actually they installed this type of hook onto the bandolier. You see this? So this one has brass on there and copper as far as fastening this on there. So this one is very rare. This one is more from the 1910s to 1930s, when you start to see the ones with a galvanized type of steel. These things are typically from the mid 30s to maybe the mid 50s. Now they made these things in different lengths. So you can see here's the shortest one. So this is just large enough to fit onto the bandolier or a utility belt. Now here's one that's longer, but it's not quite as long as the one to the left. And then I just thought I would show you the 1958, 1959. This is kind of like a utility holder from that era. And so instead of having these hooks on there, they have this leather strap on canvas. And so in diagrams from the Swedish army that I've seen, is that this thing will fasten around the entrenching tool to hold it on your belt from some of the comments that I've read, I guess a common or somewhat common way to hang this KLS short shovel, the short attack shovel, is to fasten it onto the back of your belt, your web belt, and hang it back there so it's not in the way. I mean, you can wear these on the front or the side, and I have done that, but the way this thing is long enough, it still wants to hang and hit your quads and stuff like that if you're holding it in the front. On the sides, especially with this ergonomic handle on there, you know, it wants to hit your leg somewhere. But since they have these holes in there, now you can see here I've got the snow attachment onto this right now. But it's demonstrating how these things fasten onto there. So there's plenty of room where you can unhook these. Now you can see these things side by side. I really like this brass one. This one even has, if you can see it, there's the 3 crowns. You're going to be hard pressed to find this type. Now the ones with the steel, they're very rare, but you can still find them more rarely, and they come in different lengths. So you can see here I've got 2 different lengths on there. Anyway, so let's go to some of the stuff that I use if I'm restoring leather. So this one, I haven't really cleaned it, nor have I treated it with, so that the end, I like to use Obenauf's heavy duty LP on top. Now this stuff is great because it's got, I'm not sure which oils, I'm guessing mink oil, but you know, it could be some other kind of oil. Anyway, what this does, it helps rejuvenate, and then with the wax inside, it'll help protect the leather from moisture getting into it. What I typically do is I'll use something like Lexol, kind of this 3-in-1 leather care. I'll use this to initially clean this stuff, and it does have some oils and things like that, maybe preservative or something like that, but I don't use that as the top coat. This is just to help clean it, and I'll use a microfiber rag and do that. Now, even though this has the oils and stuff, it doesn't really darken the leather a lot. So this stuff works pretty well. I even had a 106 old Swedish backpack or knapsack. It's called the Lexol. It's a very small backpack, you know, similar to like a German tornister or something like that. And I like this because it doesn't totally make it like super dark. It will darken a little bit initially, but when that stuff dries out, it's nearly close to the original color. And then the same thing with the Obenauf's LP. It will darken it a little bit, but not too much, as you know, like you would see with pure mink oil or some other leather care like that. Now I like to try to keep the same colors that were on it as much as possible, but you know, at the same time you need to protect that leather, and whatever it takes, if it's going to darken a little bit, then that's fine. I just don't like to do it too much, and that's why I use these products right here. So and it's hard to show you when I'm doing it with one hand, but pretty much I'm just going to spray this stuff onto the microfiber rag. Then I'm going to start cleaning this. So this will help get rid of the excess oil on side of there. Oils, dirt, stuff like that. And then it'll help kind of pre-treat the oil, get some of the oils from the Lexol into the system. Now I'm not going to do this all right now because I can do it one-handed and I'm terrible at mounting my my phone so I can record this. You know, I'm not a professional, so I'm not going to do all that stuff. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to finish cleaning this stuff off with the Lexol. Then I'm going to go to the Obenauf's heavy duty LP, and then I'm going to coat this to help rejuvenate it and protect it. And that's about all I have here. If you guys have any questions, please let me know. I'll try to answer as soon as I can. I appreciate you guys watching. I am not supported by anybody. I don't get any ad revenue or anything like that. So you guys have a good day. Bye-bye.